What's up, gang? How you guys doing? It is Lieutenant Sal Blue, 28-year law enforcement veteran and the author of the top 25 mistakes en route to the good life. That's right. Right here, man. This book is changing lives and making people, see the truth. See the truth about the mistakes that they make. Definitely the mistakes that I made. And to not make them and to get to where they need to go faster, man. So make sure you pick up my book today, Top 25 Mistakes en Route to the Good Life. But anyway, guys, as I try to clear my throat here, today's podcast, before we get started, today's podcast, I want you guys to make sure that you head on over to lieutenantsalblue.com and pick up a copy of your book, Top 25 Mistakes, today. Pick it up today. Don't put it off, man. Pick it up today. I'm giving away 10,000 autographed copies in 2022. 10,000 autographed copies I'm giving away. So that is handwritten. Myself. Now I don't have nobody writing those autographs for me. I'm writing them all myself and sending them out to you. So if you want me to address you specifically, then send me a DM and one of my social media platforms, and I will actually give you a specific autograph signature with your name on it straight out to you. All right, so give me a shout out today over at lieutenantsalblue.com. So listen, let's get started. Listen, if you guys haven't noticed, a lot of my podcasts these days have been on the road, in the car, on the move, have not been sitting in the studio. Have not taken a break, and that is going to be kind of like my run this year. I got a 355 more day push, right? I'm trying to go hard 7 days a week. I only have plans to take off one day this year for sure, and that won't be until October. Hopefully by then I got tons of momentum going with everything that I'm trying to put together, and it all works out for me, man. But today's podcast is interesting. I was going to do my podcast on something different, right? I noticed a lot of people dealing with a lot of stress, a lot of financial issues that people are dealing with, right? And I was going to do it on that, right? Maybe handling stress better, or speaking to people better, or taking responsibilities. Any one of those things I was going to do it on today. But I seen something, and it made me decide not to do that. It made me decide not to go down that path. And I want to go down a path, instead of going down a path of scarcity, right? I want to go down a path of growth, right? And this path of growth is you building yourself up, right? Of you building your following of people around you, right? And of you gaining attention. Because if you guys haven't noticed, man, in 2020 to present, right, attention has been equity, right? The more attention you have, the more equity you tend to gain. The more influence you tend to gain, the more financial, gain that goes in your pocket, man. You get to move your life further and do more with more, and when you finally start to gain influence, you can actually influence people's lives for the better, man. And when you're influencing people's lives for the better, hey, I think that is a powerful thing that you need to do, man. So get out there and start doing it. Start gaining attention, gaining influence, right? Getting eyeballs on you, and start getting people to have a better life. And so that is what I'm out there doing, God. I'm out there doing it, and it has made my life so much better by helping people to make their life better. So let's get it going. Let's make it happen, man. So anyway, today's podcast, right? Believe it or not, the question on today's podcast, that is all weaved in. And the question on today's podcast is this, right? And think about it, because I'm talking about influencing people, right? If people want to believe in something, why can't that something be you? If they're going to believe in something, right, then why can't it be you? Why can't people believe in you, your cause, your thing, what you're doing, what you have going on out there, right? I mean, number one, it's going to force you, right, to level up, right? It's going to force you to level up. You're going to have to level up in order to be doing something that is remotely interesting to anybody, right? So you got to start. So it's going to force you to level up yourself. On top of it, leveling up yourself, right? You have to put out something that is going to grab people's attention. So, so as I say this question, right? Why can't it be you? I want you to say yes, yes, it can be you. And you heard me correctly, right? If people need to be drawn to something, let them that something be you. Because the truth is this, guys. People have an overwhelmingly desire to believe in something. They have to believe in something, right? Why do you think, right, one of the wealthiest and most powerful organizations in the world is the Catholic Church, right? The most powerful and wealthiest organizations in the world, right? It's because of belief. People need belief. People hate to go through life without having a belief in something, right? And so, and we're all put on this earth, and people need to know why. They need to have a belief in it. So, hence, religion. They follow religion, okay? And it has grown, and it will continue to grow for generations and generations and generations, right? What religion gives people is this, guys. And this is not just the curiosity in a person, but it gives them these things, right? It gives them guidelines to follow, right? Things that you need to do if you want to be a part of this group, right? I don't know what that group over there is doing, but this group over there, this is the guidelines for this group, right? So that's what happens, right? They give you guidelines for the group to follow, so everybody's doing the same thing. They also give you, right? They also give you rituals to perform, right? There's so many rituals in the Catholic religion and so many other religions, right? Religions have so many rituals that people have to go on. You have to have a study group, right? Just to keep up with the rituals that you do, the rituals that you perform, right? And at the end of the day, right, they also have sacrifices that you have to make on behalf of the church, right? On behalf of the church, on behalf of the religion. You have sacrifices that you have to make. And so those elements, okay, are powerful. And what they do is they fulfill people's needs, right? Those elements fulfill people's needs of our existence, right? And it also gives people purpose by promoting enthusiasm about religion, okay, or over rationality and clear thinking. Now, when I say rationality and clear thinking, and I know that this creates tons of enemy and debate, but that is why religion is so powerful. Just me mentioning the fact that they're powerful, okay, creates conflict from the group that they represent. Okay, and I think this is amazing. I think this is amazing, and how it is done and how it is ingrained so deep into the human nature that they can control us so powerfully, right? Now, this is what I call the grand cause that people are mentally trained. People are mentally trained to want something like this all their lives, right? You know, you go through life and it's like, I need something, I want something. Yes. What it is you need structure, right? You need something to follow. You need a reason. You need a purpose. And if you are going through life right? And even if you're the poorest person in the world, religion gives you a purpose. It gives you a cause. It gives you a ritual that you can do, whether you're rich or whether you're poor, right? It gives you something you can do, okay? And it helps you to make a connection with the life that you're living. So understand that, guys. Understand that. Now, as mentioned before, I know this has probably made tons of enemies right now. Just on this simple podcast that I'm talking about, made tons of enemies. But it is not the religion, right, that I'm attacking. I'm not attacking religion, guys, right? People need religion. People need religion, man. You hear me? People need religion. Because without it, most individuals will go through life without hope, right? Billions of people will go through life without hope if it wasn't for religion. So guess what? We need religion. So I'm not attacking religion. But guess what? This is where you come in, guys. This is where you as the individual comes in. I know. Don't be afraid. I'm going to walk you through it, right? Now, if you want to gain wealth, right? If you want to gain power and influence to create the life that you want, I suggest, right, you become the focal point of people's desires. You heard me. Religion is the focal point of people's desires. People who gain wealth, power, and influence get there by becoming the focal point of people's desires, right? So here we go, guys. Now, what you have to do in order to become a focal point of people's desires is you have to offer them a cause to get behind. So yeah, you got to do some homework, guys. You got to have a cause. You got to have a reason, but you got to offer people a cause to get behind, or a new faith to believe in. One or the other, man. That's how you do it. And that's how you get people behind you and backing you and believing in you, right? Now, I want you to understand that keeping your words vague, right? I know a lot of people saying, vague? What do you mean vague, Blue? That's right. Keeping your words vague, it has a strong sense of power. But not because of what most people believe, right? Being vague is powerful. I found that people also have a deep desire, right? People have a deep desire to consume tons of information while never getting anything done, right? They never get anything done. So when you give people tons of information, it has the opposite effect that you think is going to happen, right? This effect that people get is overwhelmed. They just become overwhelmed because there's so much information to consume, right? That is why there's even levels in religion, right? And they give you bite-sized information, right? Based on your level of understanding in the religion. So everybody doesn't learn the same thing in religion, right? You level up as you learn more and more as the onions peel back on the religion, whatever religion you're part of. Trust me, that this is how it operates, right? Now, what happens when people are overwhelmed, they soon become known as, they soon become what I like to call know-it-alls who don't do anything. Now, and I know you've seen that person. They have advice about everything that needs to be done, and they haven't done a damn thing in their life, right? The know-it-all, do nothing, right? That's the person. You want to avoid that person, by the way, right? You don't want to never be around a know-it-all to do nothing. Matter of fact, if a know-it-all and do nothing want to be part of your cult, part of your following, find a way to separate them quickly from the masses, right? They will just give tons of information that will not help your cause, right? So now the know-it-all to do nothing, these are the same people that will complain. So just to give you a heads up, these are the same people that will complain that your information has not helped them, right? They're doing nothing, consuming all your information, so they have a lot of your information, and they will claim that it has not helped them at all. So all your information that they consume, they're running around in the crowd telling people, I did this course over here, it didn't help me. I did that thing over there, it didn't help me. Did this advice and it didn't help me. When the fact of the matter is they just consumed the advice and they never acted on it. So, but that type of person will taint the crowd of people who you are trying to influence, the crowd of people that you are trying to bring along as your following. So, my advice to you is say less. Say less. That's right, say less. You want to know why? Because you will gain so much more compliance from people, right? When you keep it simple and vague, right? And you keep it simple and vague so that your followers can add their own interpretation of the truth. And see, a lot of people don't understand me when I say this, right? People's own interpretation of the truth, no matter what you say to an individual, at the end of the day, everybody processes information differently, right? And as they process that information differently, what they begin to do is they begin to formulate their own opinions of the words that are coming out of your mouth. So no matter what you say, right? No matter what you say, they will have an opinion about you. And they're not going to follow you because of the words you say. They're going to follow you because of the opinion that they get out of the words that you said, how they put it together. That is why people are going to follow you, right? There's no specific thing that you're going to say that's really going to get people going, oh my God, I need to follow this guy. This guy is super, super informative. I need to follow this guy. Most people that follow people follow them because they like them. Right? They like the way you look, they like the way you sound, they like the way your voice sounds, they like the way you smile, right? This is why people follow you most of the time. So I always tell people, don't give out too much information, right? Keep it vague, keep it simple, so that people are not trying to deal with overwhelm, right? People are not dealing with overwhelm. And they can interpret the truth however they want. Because at the end of the day, what people feel is the truth inside their mind is the only thing that matters. It doesn't really matter what you say to them. Okay. Now you might think that being vague and keeping it simple causes confusion. But guys, it actually does the opposite of causing confusion. And it draws people in because of their confidence that they have in their interpretation of the truth. Right? People become more and more confident because they can add everything that they learned and their experiences and everything else in life. They can add all of that, right? And bring that into the words that you're saying and create their own version of the truth. So you're saying something, but they're creating as you're speaking. Okay? So it is actually very, very powerful. And that's why I say keep it vague and keep it simple, because if you say too much, right, you're going to mess up their interpretation of the truth. I know this is crazy, right? When I first learned this, it blew my mind. It literally blew my mind that this is how people with influence operate, right? Now this never happens through your actions, right? People say, actions speak louder than words. Well, they do. Right? They do. That is the problem. Right? Actions do speak louder than words, right? It's because your actions are too clear. Your actions are too clear and they're very, very readable. And if you set a piece of paper down, it's interpreted as boom, you set a piece of paper down. If you pick a pen up, it is interpreted as you pick a pen up. I'm doing my podcast. Yeah, I pick a pen up. And nobody cares, right? Nobody cares on the podcast. So I love go ahead and keeping it live like that. But anyway, so yes. So like I said, you might think it causes confusion, but it doesn't. It actually does just the opposite, right? Now, as I said before, this doesn't happen through your actions because your actions are too clear and they're very readable, right? Now, When this happens, right, when you keep it vague, people believe they know what you have to offer, right, through your actions. Not being vague, but showing people your actions. People start to believe that they know what you have to offer. And when this happens, right, when people know what you have to offer, you lose their attention, right? Because then you start running into the, I already know that guy, right? I already knew that. I knew he was going to do that, right? I knew he was going to pick up that pen. I knew he was going to set down the pad. Those are your actions, and people physically see you do those things. And so now, it actually loses attention because now people feel like they know you. I know him well. I know what he's going to do. He's the guy that picks up the pen and puts down the pen, picks up the pad, puts down the pad, right? Picks up the water, puts down the water. He always stays hydrated with that big old mug that guy got. But anyway, so your actions speak far too loud for people to begin to follow you, for people to be drawn attention to you. Your actions speak far too loud, right? You won't gain as many people as you think through your actions as you will through your vague words, and keeping it simple. Now, in order to command attention, right? In order to command attention, I would tell you guys, right? And I know this is a vibe, right? But take a page from the 45th President of the United States. He is the master of vague, right? He's the master of vague and the king of keeping it simple. He's the master of vague and the king of keeping it simple, whether you like him, whether you don't. He has that skill mastered. That's right. He knows how to do that, and he knows how to command attention, right? How do you think he became the President of the United States? He knows how to command attention, right? And he's never ever said anything, okay, that you could basically get anything out of. It's all so vague, and it's masterful, believe it or not, man. A lot of people get upset about it. Me, I smile and I laugh because I know exactly what he's doing. You know, and if it's up to you to fall in love with that, then you fall in love with it. If it's up to you to hate it, you hate it. But either way, he gets your attention. So that was powerful the entire time, right? So on the one hand, right? On the one hand, is this, and this is just interpretation of what he's done to people, right? On the one hand, he always gives the promise of something great and transformative, right? Great and transformative, a new nation, a new world, a new community, a new jobs, new everything. You know, this is like the political highlight reel. This is what they do. Something great and something transformative. And it pulls all the people in because that's all they're talking is something great and something transformative. And that's what people always want. No matter who is in charge, eventually they want change. They want change, and they want something great, right? And so as long as you tell people that if they fall behind you, they can become great, and once they become great, they will transform their lives, you will get tons of followers, man. It is so crazy that this combination, it works over and over and over again, generation after generation after generation. Nobody picks up on it. Nobody picks up on it. But this is how it happens. So I'm letting you guys know, not only so that you can create your own following and to grab power, but also so that you don't allow that same thing to get a hold of you, right? The same thing to grab a hold of you and have you running around believing and following something, okay, and giving all your money to a cause, giving all your money to a promise, right? And at the same time, getting nothing out of that but vagueness, right? So you don't want that in your life. So make sure that you pay attention to that. So, like I said, on the one hand, you get the promise of something great and transformative, while on the other hand, you got total and complete vagueness, right? You can get it to the end of that and go, well, what did he say? And then you're thinking, because he said it so simple, you're like, well, he must have meant this. And once you add your own interpretation to something, you run with it. You run with it because, hey, listen, that's your guy, and he obviously said something that meant something, and it was so simple that there's no way you couldn't have picked up on it, right? There's no way I couldn't have picked up on that, right? This is the kind of combination, guys, that will stimulate all kinds of dreams, right, in your mind, of the people following, your listeners, your mind, right? And these are the people, right? The people who are stimulated mentally. These are the people who will make their own connections and see what they want to see. Because at the end of the day, people always see what they want to see. It can be a million people staring at the same person, listening to the same speech. And it will be a million different interpretations of what that individual said. That's right. People will always see what they want to see. Now, so understand that, man. Now, here's the deal. If you've taken it from the page of the 45th, right? Once you begin to gather followers, then comes a couple of dangers, right? A couple of dangers, and he was masterful of this too, right? And the dangers were boredom and skepticism, right? You always got to watch out for boredom and skepticism. See, because listen, here's the deal, right? These are probably the two biggest enemies to attention. And you never, ever, ever want attention, okay, directed away from you. You always want eyes on you. You always want the attention, okay? Now, when it comes to boredom, right? Boredom will make people go elsewhere, right? Because people always need to be entertained. Watch it. People are glued to the television. They're glued to the phones, right? They're glued to Netflix and everything else. And the reason why they're glued to Netflix is because they're tired of the TV wasn't entertaining enough. It became boring, waiting for their show to come on. So now they go to Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and HBO Max and everything else, right? Because they can have everything that they want at their fingertips on demand. People do not like to be bored, guys. People do not like to be bored, right? The second danger is skepticism, right? Skepticism, what skepticism does is it allows people to distance, okay, themselves, right? Where they get to think rationally about whatever it is that you are offering, right? So maybe what you're offering isn't for them. And now because they become a skeptic, they were able to distance themselves and start thinking rationally about that and begin to pull away. So boredom and skepticism are your two enemies, man. You want to avoid them at all costs, right? I tell people, listen, if you want attention, right, you have to always amuse the bored, right? Amuse the bored people and ward off the cynics. Keep the cynics away from your crowd, right? I'm going to wrap it up with this, but lastly, right, when it comes to influence, you always got to set up a us versus them dynamic, man. This keeps your group united, right, and believing that they are part of an exclusive club or exclusive group, and that they're unified by a common goal, man. You want them to be unified by a common goal. So understand that when it comes to creating influence, right, and getting people to follow you and grabbing that attention that you deserve and that you need, right? And also use it as a tool, okay, to not be manipulated by people using it against you. So I'm going to wrap it up for today, man. Make sure you guys hop on over to lieutenantsoundblue.com. Pick up your copy of my book, Top 25 Mistakes en Route to the Good Life. Here it is right here, right? Second edition. And also, give me a shout out on any of the social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, Blogger, Reddit, YouTube, Twitter, all the social media platforms at Lieutenant Sal Blue. And also on my website at lieutenantsalblue.com, I got the upsell of my audiobook. You can pick up my audiobook as well. Finish my book in 4 hours if you listen to it at twice the speed. So I'm wrapping it up for the day, man. You guys have a fantastic evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.